3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. I'm here with the
legend.
D to the C, so the T. The DLGG. Why the DLGG? We're going to look at a car today, so Dan is assessing it for someone, aren't you?
Yep, this one is a paid viewing, so this is where I go and John tags along just for the video, and although he actually ends up doing half the assessment for me,
well, I'll have a look at it.
He'd be asking for a sausage roll and a coffee next.
Yeah.
This is where we go and see a car for you, inspect it, make sure it's good, see what we think of it, drive it, etc., and then report back our findings as we did recently.
Yeah.
With Anthony's one. So yes, this one is another 996.
And we can talk about it. So it's
Yep.
not an aero kit.
No, it's not an aero car. I am looking for aero cars for stock for me, but this is not an aero car, John.
No, but this is slightly different still, isn't it?
It's a bit
What is
special,
it?
isn't it? It's a bit special. It's a bit of
I don't know much
Robbie
about
Williams.
them. I love
Robbie
the paintwork
Williams.
on them. It's got some sort of like cherry, dark black, but with a hint of goldy cherry or something.
Yeah, and green.
And
so
green, is it?
It's called a Millennium. It's kind of a run-out range car. That's pretty much what most of these special editions are, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's the end of the Gen 1 cars. Porsche decided to make a special edition. They called it a Millennium. I think it was like 911, or it could have been 2,000 units, because obviously both numbers would make sense. Got a feeling it was 911, which is even lower. They used it.
Still quite a lot of cars, isn't it?
Not really to 911, but
Globally, isn't it?
I think if that's globally, it's very low, isn't it? But I would imagine if Porsche did that, it would have been a globally thing, because they wouldn't have done a number exclusive for the UK, would they?
No.
Because there's more Millenniums in America than there is in the UK.
Right.
It's based on a Carrera C4, so it's a four-wheel drive one.
Oh, is
not
it
a
really?
two. Yeah, they're all C4s. Do you know what? I didn't actually know that. I knew that they always use one model. They never do it on you can't get a Cabriolet one, you can't get a Targa one, nothing like that. It's just that one. Like
Manual or tippy though, yeah?
yes, you can get manual or tip. This is a manual. And I believe the manuals are slightly rarer, but I might be wrong.
More desirable.
Certainly more desirable, yeah. Exclusive paint job. So the paint job is Chroma Flare, which is like what TVR did and Nissan. It's this sort of colour changing pearlescent paint.
Is it a heavy fleck then, is it? Or is it
It's-
pearlescent clear coat?
It's quite subtle. I think it's a black base coat, and then
Yeah.
they put a green, transparent, greeny purple gold pearl, which is the flip, on top of black, which gives the car a green, very dark green, like olive green overall look.
Yeah.
Then when the sun hits it, you get this amazing strike of purpley, bluey golds all running.
So it's
through
normal
it.
clear, is it?
Normal clear coat on top. There's a trapped in between layer. So
Yeah.
base, pearl, gloss.
Difficult to colour match if there's any paint issues.
Very difficult. I would imagine you know anything paint wise on this, you've got to go to a pro. You've got to go to someone like Dale Paint Dynamics, someone really good, a well known that's done flips before. Because flips, if you don't lay the enough pearl on, it doesn't flip at the same rate as the other panels.
It looks different, doesn't it?
And if you don't,
Mind you, it's easy with black than some other colours.
if you don't blend properly, you get what's called patchiness, cloudiness, and it's really noticeable on a flip.
Right, and where we got to go?
We're going West London way. We're actually going to a guy that's well known on Instagram and sort of in the Porsche community, and he buys and sells. He's a bit like me. He buys and sells a few Porsches, and sometimes he just buys things for the sake of it, and he likes rare parts and interesting cars, interesting things. And I bought a car off him last year, John, already.
Oh yeah.
I bought a black Aero off him last year for Luke Robinson.
Oh cool.
You know
I don't
Luke's car?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke's is. Oh yeah, because Luke was gonna give us the dashboard or something, wasn't he?
Yes, that's him, yeah. That's the one, Luke Robinson. So that car comes from this guy on Instagram is called 9 Details. His name is James. Lovely fella. Really knows his onions on Porsches in general, right the way through. He's again a 996 fan. He has a aero car himself, which has an X51 pack.
Oh, lovely.
Which has been for sale for a while, but the
not that black one?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the guy.
Yeah,
well, I don't know the guy, but I know the car of
yes,
the guy.
yeah.
Because that black one's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, very
oh,
nice. Caged, everything.
Is that going to be there, is it?
It might be. You might see it.
That's the X51 that was, you know, like a GT3 kind of predecessor or something.
Yes,
it was
you
a
got
one-on-one car.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
One. So that's the man, and you know, he buys and sells a few bits, like, you know, so I think this came up and it needed some engine work, and I think he got it at the right money that he could get it done properly, so he took it to AMS.
What engine work?
I think it may have been suffering with some bore score or some internal issues of some sort.
So it's had a rebuild?
So it's had a rebuild, yeah. So he took the car to AMS. He obviously got the car at the right sort of money that he could afford to throw the money at it. I don't know if he initially was doing it to sell. I think he initially
but the right sort of money though for a car that needs a rebuild is virtually nothing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it went quite his way financially, shall we say?
Yeah.
But the
never
market's
does if
changed.
you need a rebuild, does it?
The market's changed. It's, you know, he couldn't have foreseen the market that was coming, the crash. I think he probably thought long-term investment on the car. You know, buy it cheap, do the rebuild, make the car mint, put it in a garage, forget about it for 10 years, boom, 40k car. The reality is, other cars have come along and he's jumped on other things, including, hopefully we'll see it today, a stunning black 964. Ooh. Yeah, a really nice one, so that'd be nice. And black seems to be his favourite colour because all his keeper cars always seem to be black.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, actually.
Now, so that's what we're up to today then. Now tell the viewers about Switzerland, Danny.
Switzerland?
On a road
trip. Wow. Well, I think we're all still buzzing from it. You're still coughing from it, but then you was coughing before you went. I'm still a bit croaky. Yeah, wow, 7 days, 7 guys, 7 countries, 7 tanks of fuel.
We went through Austria as well.
Yes. So,
we didn't factor that in.
Well, I suppose then if you count the UK, we could be talking 8 countries, but let's stick with 7 because we like the number 7.
Okay.
Italy, not everybody made Italy, did they?
No. I'm not 100% sure if we did though.
Well, we were right on the border. And the sign did suggest that we was.
It did feel like Italy, didn't it? The roads changed.
Yeah, I mean,
on the map, it didn't look like we went into Italy. But like you say, I think we might have done.
And the sign sort of said.
But I think I went into it the day before.
Yeah, you definitely went there when you went through that tunnel. But yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. I mean, it was quite well packed, wasn't it? I think the guys have all said we couldn't have crammed any more in.
No.
I'm sort of glad I didn't book us in to go to Roof or a full museum day. We wouldn't have had the time, you know.
No.
It was a lot of driving, but when we stopped to relax, we had good amount of time to sit down, have lunches and take in the atmosphere and the scenery.
And the beer.
And the beer. Yeah, the scenery was just...
There's nothing like that, is there? There's nothing on this earth like the Swiss Alps.
I mean, I'd like to do Scotland and New Zealand as a comparison, but it's the magnitude of the gradient. That's what you can't get on a camera.
The size of the mountains and how many mountains there are.
Yeah, you know, you're driving along, you're taking these corners and these views that are coming at you. You know, you should be looking at the road, but your eyes are just, they're everywhere, aren't they?
So bizarre.
Because you look, we're on the radio like, look to the right, guys, look at that view.
And then suddenly it goes sunny and green and like you're in a valley of white twisting through a forest and it's hot, and then you can get up into those mountains through the passes and it's suddenly cold and there's snow.
You literally AC on, AC off, AC on, heating on. I found myself like AC on, and then the next minute I'm putting my heated seat on because I had the window open.
So Karate Kid there.
Yeah. AC on.
AC on, AC off.
AC on. Yeah, honestly, you know, anybody who's thinking about doing a road trip, don't think, just book. Just book it.
The D996 road on the way back, that was good, wasn't it?
That's like the Nürburgring.
It's like 2 hours of driving, or 1.5 hours of just no other cars on a really quick road in the forest in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, it's literally one of those roads. If you do come into another car, we did come up to a camper van. You just got to blast them. First opportunity.
Yeah, but
they're
hardly
ruining
any
your life.
traffic though.
No, I think we saw that was 40 kilometres. That road. Can you believe that? Yeah, it's 40 kilometres. It starts at Dijon
I thought it was
and
longer.
ends up at Malloy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, well, we'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it's about 40 kilometres. There's no bypass. It's single track road. Well, you know, single
Carriage,
one lane each way, single carriage road, which gets very narrow at points with some absolute hairpin turns like the Alps, but lots of camber variation, negative and positive.
You can really gun it down there as well.
You
There's no
can,
speed
you know,
cameras,
we
there's
did
nothing.
go a bit fast. It is national speed limited anyway, which I think is the same France as
really?
UK. It's not Germany. Yeah, until you come to the villages, then it says 50 kilometres an hour, which is 30. But I think it's national, which is their version of about 60 miles per hour. Same as UK.
Yeah,
Single
yeah.
carriageway, 60. And to be honest, 60 feels good through there. There may have been some moments slightly above.
160.
But they're, you know, most of it can be done very nicely at 6.
But let's just backtrack a second. So we went through the Channel Tunnel, then we went down to Belgium, and we
Yeah.
stayed at Liège Airport Holiday Inn Express, which was actually really nice.
Yeah, we were shocked by
Yeah,
that.
it's
That was
good, wasn't it?
amazing. £100 a night, roughly.
Travelodge prices,
person.
but the food was like gourmet.
Yeah, gourmet food, really classy new Holiday Inn, you know, not like an old 20 million year old one. It was a really new, sharp, crisp building, great parking.
Yeah.
I gave it a massive 5-star on booking.com on the reviews. The staff were friendly, weren't they?
Yeah, it was really
Rooms were
good.
nice.
And then we went to Liège. Then we went from Liège to Spa, and there was a racing test day of
Yeah, that was
Ginettas and GT4s.
That was off the cuff. I mean, I sat in bed that night, and so our destination the next day was Stuttgart. But I didn't want to just get on the autobahns and 3-4 hours to Stuttgart. I thought
Yeah.
that's boring. So let's B road it. And it was when I looked at the B road and I looked at interesting places to, you know, visit. I realised we were going to drive straight past Spa, the circuit, and I thought, well, the guys would love that. So I didn't tell anyone. And I just said, let's not have breakfast in the hotel. I've got a good cafe to take us to for coffee and croissant.
You know, I got a call from them the other day,
Who from?
the cafe,
Really?
and they said, who was in that toilet?
Yeah.
He went in, two of them went in
It
the
wasn't
toilet,
me,
and they
it
had
was
to, the
Mark.
night before they'd been drinking, so they had a bad case of like brewer's
no.
arse with the meatballs,
Oh.
and they ruined this toilet.
That
He was in there for half an hour with his t-shirt wrapped around his head.
Stop, you're going to get me gagging. It was Mark Hendry. He has a very dirty bum. It is fact. Everyone knows it now. It's Mark Hendry. He obliterates toilets, public or personal. I don't know how Lisa puts up with it. It was all his fault.
You can imagine that owner of that cafe
Oh,
opening the door. Nav,
Merde, merde, merde.
les Anglais.
Les Anglais, no. Les Anglais, no. Actually, we're talking French. They're Belgium.
Well, Belgium.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, but yeah, no, it was bad. So yeah, and then we went there for coffee and croissant and obviously a poo. And while we were there, we thought, let's just look at the track. And I said, you can walk down there to the entrance to the track, and we did. And it turns out there's GT1s, Formula Fords, full-on racing going on, which obviously
Testing, yeah, but
blew everybody's mind. Everybody wanted to stay there for the day, but
yeah, it's lovely that
couldn't.
circuit. It's the first time I've been to Spa. Really nice circuit.
You wait till you drive it. Wow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
different gravy. November, there's another road trip coming for that.
Yeah,
With John's car, hopefully.
hopefully.
Come on, Barnsport.
But-
November
But
Spa.
I've got to run the engine in as well if I.
We can run it in there.
Well, I suppose.
600 miles, isn't it?
Is it enough?
Yeah, by the time you pick up from Barnsport, bring it back here. Then we
That'd
drive
be
it to Folkestone. Then and then we do the running in service in the pit garage at Spa. Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
You'll have 1,000k on it. You'll have at least 600-700 miles on it. Drop the oil, new oil in, and then you can go around on 7,000 RPM it and blow it up again.
Yeah, we could do, yeah. So that was Liège. Then we went down to Stuttgart. I managed to get into the Porsche Museum, which I thought was shite.
Yeah, it was a different mix. What happened was we left Liège, we hit the autobahns to start with after Spa. Obviously, we've done Spa. We B-roaded our way out of Belgium to Germany. Then we went big roads because we needed to get at least a good 200 miles done.
Yeah.
Because I had a plan to cut down into Germany and then drop out of Germany back into France, which was to go to the Black Forest. Is that on?
Yeah.
But via the Black Forest, go through the French National Park and then come out into the Black Forest. Again, just to spice it up, make it, instead of getting to Stuttgart in 4 hours, let's take 10 hours, but have a load of fun. But when we got on the autobahns, everybody got carried away. I mean, I saw 147 miles an hour.
I got over 140.
Did you? Yeah. John did a 140. Christian and that kind of backed off a bit at 130, 135s. I think Nick might have done 100. Bless him. Max went past me as I backed off at 147, so he touched 150, 155 in the Jag.
Wow.
But obviously 5.7 V8 was in its element then,
fast
wasn't
car,
it?
wasn't it?
And then we all lost each other, really. A couple of us kept together, and at that point, John was like, right, he's like, I'm giving up, I'm going straight to Stuttgart.
Well, I thought I'd go and see the museum, but it wasn't that great. It was okay. It's all right.
It's all right, but it's not a day out, is it? The museum is,
No,
you can do it in a couple of hours.
Half an hour. You got all these kids running around, like you're trying to look at the cars, and something like kid flies in front of you, like
School outings and things like that.
They need to give you baseball bats.
It's a box ticker, isn't it? I would suggest anyone going that way does it.
Yeah. You got to go and see it, but it's just a load of Porsches.
There is better museums than the Porsche Museum. I'm not going to lie, I'm a Porsche fan, but the BMW and Mercedes museums are established. But it's things like the Cinci Museum, where it's all cars, and you'll see all loads of Porsches, you'll see loads of BMWs, but you'll see Formula One cars, a Le Mans section, vintage cars, aeroplanes. Yeah. There's a lot more to take in. But yeah, worth the
Stuttgart
visit.
was busy as well, industrial town.
Yes.
But then we got out of Stuttgart and we headed down to Andermatt, which is in the middle of Switzerland. But we went by a little German town called Überlingen on this Elek.
Überlingen.
Where Danny was eating the plates and the cutlery because he was so hungry.
Got a lot of women following me after that video, John.
Did you?
Yeah.
Don't. It's a family show. It's a family show. Sorry, folks.
Sorry.
Now.
Yeah, Überlingen, by the way, was still in Germany, but around that lake borders France, Germany, Switzerland, and
Austria, I think.
Austria, but not quite Austria. It's,
when we went round.
Say the name, I never get it.
Liechtenstein's a little bit further down. When you go round that lake and we hit loads of traffic, do you remember that single file? When you go down there, that's into Austria.
Is it?
And then it goes down through Liechtenstein.
And then into Switzerland.
Yeah.
So that lake, we went right round the edges of it. So we did all the countries, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And then driving down through Liechtenstein, when you start seeing the mountains and the Alps, and you suddenly then get into the Alps, and then the drive, the 19 road across Switzerland to get to Andermatt. That was fantastic.
Because we actually, on that road, you're doing passes, aren't you?
Yeah.
So the road, he's saying, basically how we got into Switzerland, this one road that cuts through the middle of it, to get to the middle, which is where we wanted to be, Andermatt, was there 2 passes on that? I think there's 2 passes.
2 passes,
Yeah, that you actually do on the way to the hotel, which was a winner.
And then when you get into that valley of Andermatt, it's beautiful. And how good was the hotel?
Unreal. One of the best hotels I've ever stayed in. How that's not 5-star, I don't know. I believe it's just because it doesn't have a Michelin star restaurant. That's
just because we were there. When we left, they put the other star back on.
Yeah, we brought it down a level, but if you go into Switzerland, Andermatt, I really recommend. It's a very central location, really good for all the passes. And if you're going to stay at a hotel, if you've got unlimited money, then there's one called the Geldi, which is phenomenal 5-star. It's like next level up James Bond movie stuff, but it's a grand a night. If you ain't quite got that bread, then 100% the Radisson Blu. That is the one to stay at.
Lovely hotel, that was.
Amazing. Food was good as well. Breakfast was amazing, wasn't it?
Breakfast was pretty damn good, yeah. And then we stayed there for 3 days, going out every morning early, hitting the passes and finding these amazing roads. And and then relaxing in the afternoon, having a meal and a bite to eat, some beers. And then after 3 days of that, we drove to Dijon. And then Nick the skip broke down on the way.
Yeah. No, we didn't break on the way to Dijon, did he? He broke down on the last day, which was Dijon to Calais.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So thank God it was the last day.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So we'd done all the fun driving then. That was horrible for him.
Yeah.
His car's still in France.
Yeah, they are repatriating it now, so I think...
Looks like a corpse.
If you're going to do these road trips, guys, get top cover, spend the money. So a couple of us Googled... Not John. John didn't do Imovis.
Don't listen to this guy. Don't get anything.
John don't spend nothing. He just bowls up and see what happens.
I call Jim Ritchie. He'll come and pick me up from France. He'll be cheap as chips. You're like, give him cash.
So Nick had European breakdown cover with his current car insurance, but it would appear that the cover is the very basic sort of cover and maybe not quite the level that you would want. I personally, in that situation, wouldn't want the car messed with or fixed or anything in France. I would literally want them to collect the car, take it to a compound, and then repatriate it to Britain to a garage of my choice in the UK. I would want me then to be forwarded on straight to somewhere else.
I bet you it's something relatively...
Have you farted?
No.
Jesus Christ, Johnny boy, are you sure? Have we got Mark in the car?
It's the fields, isn't it? The fields.
And then I would want to I would have literally at that point wanted one taxi to Dijon, train to Paris, Eurostar home or flight. Instant home in England.
You ain't going to get that.
No. And then, give me back as much as you can of that.
You got that mad bloke trying to
well,
that mad French bloke who was there. Push.
Nick had kind of a over the coals experience, wasn't it? Because he didn't really know
They didn't even fucking look at it.
They didn't know. He got picked up fairly quickly.
Half decent mechanic would just get in there. Oh right, I know this engine. Like, get in there.
No,
right, what is this?
But you're not going to get that. It was a Friday afternoon in the middle of like the French countryside. Garlic. Basically all they wanted to do is bless.
That's Cornwall.
But it was in France, wasn't it? Ooh la la, Porsche, ching.
Yeah. Bonjour, monsieur.
They said to him they couldn't even
look
at
your wallet.
They couldn't even look at it till
He didn't want the car keys. He just wanted Nick's wallet.
Couldn't even look at it till the 7th of July or something.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, and then you had Nick running around like Only Fools and Horses with his suitcase. He got a pony in his pocket.
Planes, trains and automobiles.
Yeah, he was just really pulled over the coals and he didn't know from one day to another what was happening. The updates weren't great. And, he ended up staying another night back to the hotel. So he ended up going back on himself 50, 100 miles back to Dijon, which is further away than from England, obviously, in Calais. Then it was they were going to give him a hire car. Then he couldn't take the hire car to UK. Then he had to return. And it was messy. But in the end, he ended up doing what I said. He got to Paris, got on a Eurostar, got to England, left the car in France, and demanded they repatriate the car to the UK. And fingers crossed, that's what's happening. So fingers crossed.
God blimey.
I still think it's going to be fuel related, fuel pump relay.
Could be a fuel pump, couldn't it?
We couldn't smell fuel, all that cranking and no fuel smell. But we did try, obviously, as a team, as you see from some of the pictures. John with his handy 10mm.
Because it started when they moved it and put it on
yes,
put
after
it on the ramp.
Cooled down 3-4 hours later.
I had a similar thing with my 330Ci. The fuel tank went, and if you sort of bounced it around a little bit, because it still had loads of fuel in it, but it wasn't drawing fuel from it had to be, if you brimmed it, it would run. But if it went below a certain level, it wouldn't fuel. So
pressure.
Maybe, I don't know. But, so maybe it's a fuel pump. I don't know if they're prone to going on those Porsches,
it's 20 odd years old.
It's an old plastic part, is it?
It's inevitable, isn't it? Either that or a blocked fuel filter. It just definitely smelt fuely to me. My gun would be fuel pump, because that can cut a car out and then it could make a car run and then not run. And Nick said it sort of skipped a beat about 3 minutes before it cut out. So it sounded like it misfired and then cut out, and then refired. So, and Nick's car always smells fuely, and when we were cranking that car, no smells. But we tried the battery reset, which is to disconnect the battery, leave it 20 minutes, because if it was an air mass meter getting too hot, air mass sensor, or a crank sensor, a positioning sensor, they will all reset to factory parameters.
Yeah.
So we tried that trick, it didn't work. We plugged in code reader. We had lots of different codes, didn't we? Cleared all the codes, reset it again, tried that a few times, that didn't work.
It was errors on the immobiliser as well, though.
Yeah, I think that's where we'd done the reset, though, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think. But then the immobiliser can cut just at fuel, because it cuts at fuel and spark.
Yeah.
But normally when you get a mobiliser problem, you get nothing. You don't even get a clip. You get nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
It won't crank, and that car was cranking.
Yeah.
But not only was it cranking, the speed it was cranking telling me it's firing. So as in it's sparking and cranking.
Yeah.
And then there's just the only other ingredient you need is air or fuel. And if you had fuel but no air, it would pump and be really fuel smelly and stinky.
Yeah. No fuel.
We had, I believe, we had air, we had spark, we had crank. I believe we had no fuel.
Yeah.
And he had fuel in the car because we were all on the same tankish roughly. So we all topped up. So he would have had 3/4 of a tank.
Maybe we put the blue or the red in.
Oh, imagine if he's put the wrong fuel in. Oh, mind you, he would have been smoking if he'd put diesel in or something. But yeah, he did get to a petrol station pump once and asked which one to put in.
What's this blue? Don't use it. Don't worry. Go with the green.
Go with the green. The green's a winner. Greens go. Oh, bless him.
So that was a great trip.
Yeah, it was mega. Like you say, my highlight of it all would have been just Switzerland as a whole. I can't say any one particular part of Switzerland, but the highlight was Switzerland. And if you think about it, that's the place we spent the most time. It
was clean, isn't it? There,
yeah.
Like, puts the UK to shame. You get back in the UK,
bang, bang,
gridlock,
bang.
like dirt on the, like rubbish and litter on all the sides of our roads, and like work. I mean, like coming back around the M25, one lane's closed for the entire.
And no one's there,
and there's not a single bloke doing any work out there. They're out, but you see them out there grafting, like the workers when they close the roads. They get to work and then they get it fixed and then they go on to the next one. Here we put cones down and do nothing for 6 months.
And did you notice when they're doing the road works there, right? Mark Hendry spotted it and said it on the radios. They weren't re-tarmacking or filling holes. They literally chopping out sections, pulling it all up and building a whole new section of road to repair a crack or some holes.
They take pride in it.
It was a new piece of road for that section.
You'd say the blokes that were doing the work on the road, you'd call them engineers, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You come over here and like you don't see them working.
Hanging out their mouth.
5 of them all crouched around smoking a fag, watching one bloke sort of on a digger or something. It's just like the work, the pride in the roads.
There was no one standing around. The only people standing around were the traffic people, like coordinating the traffic. Everybody else had a shovel, had a pickaxe, on a digger. They were all doing something, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they were fresh as well, I tell you, because we were hitting the roads at 5:30 in the morning before them.
Yeah, weren't they?
And if you get to the roadworks before them, there's no traffic lights, so that they basically clear up after themselves every evening so that you can just drive through. I mean, how sensible is that? In England, 5 o'clock in the morning, the lights are still going off. There's no one coming the other side.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
they don't even know
how to manage those lights, so you get like no traffic flow. So it's all gridlock one side. There's no one on the other side.
There's no one on the other side. Out there, they're all open, so you just drive through it. And then when they turn up, cool, that's nice, mint. Toyota Hilux on an 03 plate, absolutely minty. Look at that, proper old wagon. Out there, they were turning up roughly at around 6:30 in the morning, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, they were all working, and the road, they had all the traffic signals working. So the sweet spot between 5:30 and 7 in the morning, that was the most clearest time because you were beating the road workers. But yeah, they were on it. They were just on it.
Different world, though, isn't it? Like they take pride in their country, like, and how it's maintained, and like maintaining the verges and the forests and the streets, no litter.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful. they haven't allowed all that horrible kind of architecture in, you know, all those generic housing estates we're building all up and down the country.
No.
They've really looked after Switzerland.
It'd be a dream place to live, but I'd imagine they don't want anyone else to live in it, and you can understand that.
I don't know.
I think they like it if you got lots and lots of Wonga. Like
There's a population of about 8 million, isn't it?
I believe the billionaires of the world live there. The people that make all the decisions for this country in
very
Europe
expensive to
all
live
live there.
They all live in the towns though, mainly, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's Zurich, Bern, Geneva, and they're the main towns.
And that's, you could see the money in Geneva, couldn't you? It was dripping off the walls, weren't it?
We didn't go to Geneva.
Yeah, we did. We went to Geneva Lake, the Geneva Lake. So though we didn't go into Geneva, we're still around
that
the
area.
outskirts.
Yeah, that's the French part. Lausanne and
we went
Montreux.
Montreux, that's where we were.
That's the French part. Then like Zurich and Bern are like the German bordering kind of bits, so they're more German. Then south is all the Alps, where there's hardly anyone living there and no big towns. But that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah, it was just amazing, the whole thing. Very James Bondy. You can see why they film a lot of Bond stuff out there.
Incredible.
Because it's like, wow, it's breathtaking, and I guess to get that in a movie,
it is expensive though.
Yeah.
Like a pint of beer is about £9.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got to say it though, I'd rather it stay expensive and there be less Brits going there than it be like £2 a pint of lager and it's full of bloody Brits.
What are you saying about Benidorm?
Well, is it £2 there?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean though? You wouldn't want.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want Switzerland to become.
No,
like,
Switzerland. You wouldn't want Switzerland to become Benidorm.
You want it to be
you?
expensive.
Yeah, because it's going to keep the riff-raff away. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
The people that don't want to spend the money. Kept you and Nick away, yeah.
Kept me and Nick away, yeah.
You two stayed in the hotel the whole time. You didn't want to spend the money.
No, I spent the bloody fortune.
But you know, the dinner's out. It's 40 quid a man. No starter. Have a main. Have a drink or two. That's 40 quid.
So a meal in
That's
a good
fair.
Swiss restaurant, 30 to 40 euros, isn't it?
Yeah, with a drink or two. If you're eating nice quality food, the pizza place was quite cheap.
Yeah.
It was only kind of like 20 quid for a pizza, the same as England, isn't it?
Yeah, not far off.
You know, a little bit more, but they get you on the beer. Will be
the trick is, if you go to these pizza places, guys, this is my top tip: get the tinned seafood. Danny was the only one who didn't have pizza, and he got some like fish salad, but it was one of those cheapo tins with a will in it.
That was Geneva Lake in Montreux. Yeah, that was. We just stopped at like the first cafe. You know, you never stop at the first cafe, although it was alright, weren't it? It was very pricey, but we expected that there. And there were guys ordered pizzas that were sort of £20 a pop, £25 a pop, and they were amazing, looked amazing, and I did get a slice, so they were amazing. Because I was by the water, I always do what I do. I like to eat what's in the water by the water. It's my little...
You had a Wellington boot for dinner.
I like to eat seafood if I'm by the ocean or by lakes and things like that.
It's very shellfish of you, Dan.
Yeah. And it really worked out well in the first place, didn't it? Because I had the seafood salad, which was absolutely unbelievable, hence I was licking the plate.
It was fresh, wasn't it?
This one had on the menu, and 22 francs, by the way, which is like, what, £20 sardines, but not much of a description about them. Now, I assumed 20 quid, place like that. I mean, that was the starter menu, but I was expecting like 4 pieces of sardine grilled on a ciabatta bread with
fresh from the lake.
Fresh from the
each
lake.
Each with a name tag on it.
Yeah, with a salad garnish drizzled in balsamic vinegar. You know, all of this elaboration was running through my mind. Luckily, I ordered a bowl of chips with the side of it. Anyway, he must have gone out the back and gone, here, somebody has ordered the sardines. Anglaise, we don't have. So they got a tin of Prince's pilchards. Didn't even take the bones out of them, luckily, because I like the bones. I eat the bones in pilchards. But they didn't even take the bones out of them. They just opened the tin, wiped off the tomato juice, and put the 4 pieces onto a plate, cold. Got a bit of watercress, went ta-da, and threw that at me. So they were just cold pilchards. They weren't really sardines.
And the moral to this story:
just order the pizza.
Never go off piste on the menu. If you're with 7 blokes and they're all ordering pizza, never order the fish.
Just order the pizza. So yeah, you know, 22 francs. I think they had me pants down for a tin of pilchards, but you know, I like pilchards. They tasted very nice. I really liked them. Just a shame they didn't give me like 3 tins of, or warm the things up, or put them in the microwave or something, grill them or something. But yeah, you know, live and learn. Should have had a pizza. You got to try these things, Don. You got to be El Continental. You got to go with the lingo, ain't you?
Yeah.
You got to do with what they do. Eat what they eat.
Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes it backfires.
Yeah, this
That's
time
life.
it did. Yeah.
So that was the road trip, guys. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we all made it back eventually. And my car didn't skip a beat, really.
No, nor did mine.
It got a bit hot. But
the 996 didn't lose a drop of oil. Yours didn't lose a drop of oil.
I think mine did use a bit of oil because I took about 500 ml and I put it in.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't top up. I got back. I left it overnight. I checked it in the morning, and it was absolutely the max of the tip. So it didn't drop a beat, didn't burn an ounce. And we did 2,005 miles in total. Bearing in mind, a lot of that was at 7,000 RPM. Because you think all those back roads, all the mountain climbs, that's all high rev, high stress, racy stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it killed my brakes.
Yeah.
I think I needed new distant pads.
Yeah, it did I had a bit of vibration, but that vibration, so I think I got some pad deposits.
Yeah, same. I've got to deal with that.
Yeah, I've cleaned the car up, it's all right.
Heat shield, my dust shield, them stupid shields rattling, scraping on the back of the disc. That was annoying most of the way. I banged it with a screwdriver in the end and just shut it up.
Yeah.
That's going to have to come off.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. So we'll end this segment here. I'll do another video on the car inspection when we get there. But don't forget to subscribe. And where can they follow you, Dan?
Dan's Timeless Classics, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere. Same name.
Lovely jubbly.
Pinky's Tacos, if you like an aero.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Doug.